Hello, welcome to Me Edson. So, a very quick reaction video here to Moses Itauma against Dillian Whyte last night. I thought the undercard was really good. Ball against Goodman, I thought was great. Hrgovic against Adelaide was cracking as well. You know, everybody's talking about that 8th round and just how Hrgovic stayed on his feet. After he was getting a pounding, but after Adelaide had gone down as well. But Adelaide stuck in there, fantastic from him as well. But that was a real good bust up. I like that one. Look, there's lots of people who are going to start digging me out straight away because of my last video about saying that we can't really say how good Moses Itauma is until he's really been tested, and is he overhyped and all that kind of stuff. And I was saying, there's a good chance here that Dillian Whyte could take him into later rounds and take him. I also said that Dillian Whyte hadn't really shown anything for a couple of years, he hasn't had a lot of rounds, he hasn't had a lot of fights. He's just been obviously his bans here left, right, and centre, but he hasn't looked good. But he came in looking good in this fight, and you were thinking, or I was thinking, that maybe he's gonna be a lot better than he's shown in the last couple of fights. And I thought that would be better, or a much harder task for Moses Itauma to deal with. Probably hasn't come up against somebody like that. So that was my thinking. And it's very easy to say when I've got it wrong, and I hold my hands up because I did say in the video I could quite easily get this completely wrong. Moses Itauma could chin him within a round or two and I'll have egg on my face, right? And yeah, look, I've got egg on my face because I was tipping Dillian Whyte to do it, but on the basis of I thought he would be a lot better than he actually was. But it just goes to show that he wasn't. He just wasn't, he's past it. And that's, unfortunately, when you've got a young gun like Moses Itauma out there, who is a great prospect, or who I was saying was a great prospect, and he's got the weight, he's got the movement, he's got the athleticism, and he's also got the punch power. And Dillian Whyte hasn't got punch resistance anymore. That was clear to see. Then obviously this is the problem that we're going to face here, in that Dillian Whyte wasn't really a match for Moses Itauma. Do I think Moses Itauma is still a prospect? Yes, because he hasn't actually proven himself at the higher level. And this is what I mean now. I thought Dillian Whyte was going to be that next step into the higher level. I just didn't realise that he wasn't. And I probably should have done, because based on his previous performances, but I just thought his experience would carry him through. So for Moses Itauma now, the next step is, well, who does he fight next? Because there's going to be a lot of boxers, a lot of heavyweights there who just won't want to get in the ring with him, especially if they're not going to be paid handsomely. If the reward is there, I think they're going to find easy fights. If the reward isn't there, they're going to think, why do I need to get in with him? So there might be some difficulty in matchmaking for Moses Itauma unless the big fights come along. And the only ones who are going to make that fight, is the Saudis, really. Let's face it, and pay that money, or pay the opponent the money to get in with the ring with him. He's definitely got all the attributes. He's definitely got the punch power. But I just can't wait to see him in with somebody who's been fighting on a regular basis, who's at the top of their game, who is a top 5, or one of the leading contenders right now in all the weight divisions. You could easily put him in with Usyk right now, and look, he could easily wipe him out within a round or two, or he could be unstuck within a couple rounds as well. And I believe that Usyk would definitely win, but again, why would he go in the ring with him? He's got nothing to prove. And most of us are saying that Usyk should retire anyway. He's got one big fight. Let's have it a massive, big money fight, and see how he goes with that. But for him to step in the ring with Moses Itauma, I don't think he needs to. He goes in with Joseph Parker, Caballero. I'd even put him in with Wardley as well, actually, and see how that goes. But they're all fighting out the same camp, training camp with Ben Davison. So I don't think that would ever happen. So who next to Moses Itauma? I don't know. He definitely, maybe in some eyes after the event, he didn't surprise anybody. you know, I don't think you surprised me. I think what did surprise me is Dillian Whyte not really being at it, and that's where I'm at with it. You know, I thought Dillian Whyte would put up a much bigger resistance to it. I just didn't like the way he was holding his hands as well, Dillian Whyte. I thought he was leaving himself open as well. He just didn't get into it, really, let's face it. And all plaudits to Moses Itauma. But the thing is, who's going to fight him next? Who's going to want to risk it all against this young lad who's got all the attributes to become the next big thing? But fantastic display, devastating display from Moses Itauma. And yeah, I got it wrong, and I'm happy to hold my hand up and say, look, got it wrong. I've got no issues with that. I know there's lots of people out there who are just waiting for somebody like me just to get it wrong so they can say, oh, you know nothing, you know, I told you so. But look, that's the way it is, you know. You put your neck on the line, you know, you put yourself out there and you say what you think. It's just an opinion. And, you know, some people, well, they like to come after the party's ended. Let's put it that way. But hey, it is what it is. But Moses Itauma, fantastic. But he's got to get in with... I just don't believe he's been properly tested yet. And that's where I'm at. He still hasn't been properly tested. And it might be that he has to get all the way up to, you know, fighting a Parker, fighting whomever right at the very top until he's actually tested. But it could be we're looking at the next big thing here. And it could be, because he's so young, this could be him being at the top for many years to come. Fantastic stuff. I got it wrong. Simple as that. I thought Dillian Whyte have a lot more about him, but it just goes to show his age and his inactivity has done him in there. If you like what I do here, keep on watching the videos and catch you again. Another video coming very soon, and more football videos coming as well, and well, more boxing and other sports coming too. Catch you again. Bye now.